how do you actually serve divorce papers? Like what does that actually look like?
Any family law action is a civil suit. And I want clients, and we often get clients to think about that. What you're suing for is the right to be divorced, or the right to be legally separated, or the right to have custody or placement. It is a civil lawsuit. So you have to follow the rules of civil procedure. One of the most important rules of civil procedure is notice. And what notice is a heads up that you're being sued. You have a right to know that someone is suing you for something. So whenever we file, whether it's a motion or a summons and petition in a family case, service has to be proper. If service isn't proper, it's kind of like any board game that you play as a kid. You get kicked right back to step one, and you got to start all over again. And you usually get a pretty good chewing from either the judge or commissioner on the way out if service is improper. Service by mail is appropriate in certain circumstances, meaning after the court stamps the file as approved, you can mail it to the opposing party. If you can't find the opposing party, you can actually do what's called service by publication, which means I know, with credible intelligence that a person lives in a certain area, but I don't know exactly where they live. That was their last known whereabouts. And so I'm going to find most people don't read the newspaper anymore, but this still works because it's old and still good law. But filing in a circulation of general publication in that area for a period of, let's say, 20 to 30 days would constitute constructive notice or service to the person if you don't have the actual address. I will tell you that the best way to serve anyone is personal service. And in that circumstance, you've got to get either a civil process server or you have to get the sheriff. We always use a civil process server in all of our cases to make sure that that person is personally served and that we have what's called an admission of service signed, so that service is never an issue.
It sounds like there is a mechanism for serving someone if they're trying to skate past or not get served because they know something's coming. Is that kind of that publication of service?
It is, but I can tell you this, and I've told other clients this. Service is one of the most banal, but also critical steps in any one of these processes. I'll give you for instance. We have a number of clients that come to us. They haven't seen their spouse in somewhere between 6 and 10 years. And the last time they heard of them, they were somewhere in the middle of Arizona. And they think, well, I can go and do this by myself. I can, do it yourself divorce because there's nothing I want from him and there's nothing, he wants from me and everything's going to be fine. And what they find out is that they don't know how to serve the person properly through the appropriate channels. And therefore the divorce can never actually be finalized. The court keeps kicking them back to step one. So there is a formal process for doing so, but it's a highly technical process and it's one where you really got to follow the steps. You got to dot the I's and cross the T's.
Awesome. Service is unbelievably critical as it relates to doing stuff properly and not getting kicked back to go and being efficient within the court system. Obviously, that's something we do here at Sterling. Can you talk a little bit about how our attorneys facilitate that and what information they try to gather from a client so they can properly serve?
What we do is we make as a matter of practice, whenever we can personally serve the opposing party, we do so. We do use civil process servers in the area consistently, and they go all over the state. And if we need to serve someone in a separate state, we find a civil process server there. Very, very exceptionally, we'll use the sheriff's office. The one part that I want to say about serving someone personally is that it doesn't have to be embarrassing. It often is very discreet. It's often very civil. The idea of jamming papers into someone's hands in the parking lot or having the sheriff serve them at work is embarrassing. And quite frankly, it's something we want to avoid. There's enough tension in family law that we want to seek to avoid that. Generally speaking, civil process servers will contact the opposing party and say, look, we have papers for you. We need to serve you. What would be an appropriate time to meet you at your house, when no one's around, just to give them to you. And so what they'll do is they'll find that person at home on a pre-appointment, maybe 5:30, 6 o'clock, knock on their door, here's your papers, walk away. No one publicly is the wiser, but service has been achieved.
So it's nothing like in the movies.
It doesn't have to be.
Thank you for watching this video. Please like, subscribe, and share. Your interaction with our content is greatly appreciated. Visit sterlinglawyers.com to learn more about our firm and meet our attorneys.